Welcome to the Remove Right podcast, where we share expert insights on flooring demolition and interior cleanup across Florida's Suncoast. I'm Greg, your host, and today we're covering water-damaged floor removal in Sarasota, why quick action is critical, how to spot the signs of compromised flooring, and how our dust-controlled demolition process helps protect your home from further damage. Let's jump in.
Today we're tackling a topic that can really turn a normal day upside down for any homeowner. Water damage. It's way more than just a wet spot on the floor. It can be a serious threat to your home structure, your stuff, and honestly, even your family's health. We've got some really great source material today focusing specifically on, removing water damaged floors. It looks particularly at places like Sarasota and Florida's Suncoast. And it's packed with crucial details, common causes, those subtle signs you might otherwise miss, and what really expert dust-controlled intervention actually involves. So our mission today, we want to cut through that initial panic, give you a clear, actionable understanding of why acting immediately is just so vital. We'll help you spot the early warnings, walk you through what a professional, properly planned demo process looks like. Basically, we want to arm you with the knowledge to react fast, react smart, and protect your home and, your peace of mind. Think of this as your guide to turning a potential mess into something manageable.
Exactly. And that shift from panic to plan, that's absolutely key. What's really eye-opening from these sources is just how fast water damage can escalate. From a spill you can see to a really serious hidden problem.
Yeah.
So this deep dive, it'll help you understand not just what happens when water gets in, but why it's so critical to deal with it quickly, yes, but also effectively.
Okay, let's unpack this then. I mean, we've probably all had a minor spill, right? Wiped it up, didn't think much of it. But when we're talking real water damage, why does acting fast really matter? It's not just about getting things surface dry, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. It's much deeper than that. The sources are really clear on this. They sometimes call it the silent clock.
Mm-hmm.
Because what a lot of homeowners don't realize is that significant damage and maybe even more critical mold growth can start within a, startlingly short time frame. We're talking 24 to 48 hours after things get soaked.
Wow.
Yeah. And this isn't just, a bit of a musty smell appearing later. It's about mold spores actually starting to colonize. And that rapid escalation, it can turn what seems like a small leak into a much more serious Category 2 or even Category 3 water damage event. That means bigger health risks, bigger repair costs. The key thing here is that any delay isn't just inconvenient. It's actively making the problem worse. It lets moisture wick up into subfloors, inside wall cavities, behind cabinets, creating these hidden saturated pockets you just won't see.
Wow, 24 to 48 hours. That feels incredibly tight, like you said, a ticking clock under your floorboards. So for you listening, what are the direct sort of tangible benefits of making that immediate call, taking quick action when you're facing this kind of emergency?
Right. There are several really critical benefits, things that directly impact your home, your wallet, and your health. First off, and maybe most importantly, mold prevention. Addressing that moisture fast, before mold colonies can even get established, that's huge. Once mold really takes hold, cleaning it up, remediation, it gets way more complex, way more expensive.
Right.
Second, you get structure protection. Getting in there early stops warping, swelling, and something called delamination, where layers of material separate. It stops that before it becomes permanent damage. Think about solid wood floors cupping up or engineered planks bubbling. That's direct structural damage happening.
Mm-hmm.
Third, it means faster restoration. If you remove the soaked, unsalvageable stuff right away, you seriously speed up the drying process and the whole rebuild timeline. Less stuff to dry means less time your house is disrupted. Simple as that.
Makes sense.
And finally, something people might not think about right away, insurance readiness. Good professional teams. They often meticulously photo document the whole demolition, from the first look to pulling out materials. And that detailed record, it's gold for your insurance claim.
Yeah.
Makes the whole process smoother, more transparent, and could even mean better coverage.
That really puts the cost of waiting into sharp focus. I can imagine some listeners thinking about the immediate cost of calling pros versus maybe just trying a DIY fix with fans. But you're saying these initial professional steps, they're not just about drying. They specifically cut off those bigger long-term money and health problems. So it's really an investment, not just an expense.
Exactly. It's about stopping a small issue from mushrooming into a huge hidden disaster. A homeowner might dry what they see on the surface, sure, but a pro knows how water travels, where it hides. They prevent those problems that linger for months or years.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. Let's talk about the how and what. What are the usual suspects when it comes to water-damaged floors? Especially thinking about a place like Florida's Suncoast. How might that climate play a role compared to, say, somewhere colder and drier?
Yeah, the climate difference is a really good point. The sources list several common culprits you see everywhere, really. Things like, sudden storm intrusions, hurricane flooding, heavy rain finding a way in. Then there are the plumbing fails, burst supply lines for sinks or toilets, leaking appliances, fridges, dishwashers, washing machines are big ones. Even something seemingly small like a failed wax ring under the toilet can cause big problems over time.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about those.
And slab seepage, where moisture actually comes up through the concrete foundation. Plus, AC condensate overflows, very common in humid places. But connecting this to coastal areas like Sarasota, like you said, that high humidity in the air naturally slows down drying massively.
Yeah, okay.
And that's critical because it means even a seemingly minor thing, like a toilet wax ring that leaks just a tiny bit constantly or a slow drip from an ice maker line, it becomes way more problematic. These small leaks, they never really get a chance to dry out properly on their own. They become these perfect little breeding grounds for mold and bacteria long before you might see anything obvious. That constant moisture in the air just means your home structure is way less forgiving than it would be in, say, a dry desert climate.
So the humidity isn't just uncomfortable, it's almost like it's working against you trying to dry things out. That's a really crucial point. I think a lot of people assume, open a window, turn on a fan, job done. But for someone at home, what are the actual signs, the things that might tell them their floors are compromised, even if they don't see puddles of water? What should they be looking for?
That's a great question, and it's kind of like an early warning system for your home. How do you spot a problem you can't immediately see? The signs do vary a bit depending on the floor type, but they're pretty distinct once you know what to look for. Okay, so for wood floors, you want to look for warping or cupping. That's where the edges of the planks lift up, making the board look sort of concave like a shallow bowl. The opposite is crowning, where the middle pushes up, making it hump-shaped. Both mean there's uneven moisture. And a big one, a persistent, maybe even faint, musty odor. That's a huge red flag, even if the floor looks okay visually.
Got it. Musty smell.
Yep. Then, for vinyl or laminate, look for bubbling or feel for soft spots when you walk on it. That usually means water's trapped underneath. It might feel spongy, or you might see visible gaps opening up between the planks as they swell and buckle.
Okay.
And then some general signs across most types. Watch for stains or discoloration. Dark patches on wood, maybe yellowing on vinyl, or the seams lifting on vinyl or VCT, that's vinyl composition tile. And of course that unmistakable musty smell again, or even tiny visible mold specks. Check especially near baseboards or along the lines where carpet tack strips would be.
That's a fantastic, really specific checklist for everyone listening. Being aware of those signs, it really could make all the difference in catching something early. Avoid a lot of pain and expense down the road. It's like your house is trying to tell you something's wrong, and now we know the language. Okay, so once you've spotted the damage, the next big question just looms, doesn't it? Can I repair this, or does it all have to come out? That feels like a huge make or break decision.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
And honestly, this is where getting a professional assessment is just crucial. The sources are pretty clear. In humid places like the Florida Suncoast, and with building materials that are porous, like wood subfloors, drywall water often gets into layers that you simply cannot fully dry in place without risking future problems. So if wood boards have swollen or warped beyond a certain point, if the carpet padding stayed wet for more than that critical 24-48 hours we talked about, or if laminate has delaminated, the layers have separated, replacement is almost always the safer bet and often more cost-effective in the long run. Trying to dry those materials out when they're already compromised, you're just asking for ongoing moisture issues, hidden mold growth that you might not find for months.
Right.
And the sources also stress something important. It's not just if things got wet, but what kind of water it was. They categorize it. Category 1 is clean water, like from a burst of water supply pipe.
Yeah.
With that, maybe some limited salvage of non-porous stuff is possible if you're really quick. Category 2 is gray water. The overflow from a washing machine, maybe a dishwasher. It's got contaminants in it. And category 3 is black water. That's the really nasty stuff, sewage backup. Flood water from outdoors. It contains dangerous bacteria and pathogens. Yeah. And if it's gray or black water, forget salvage for porous things.
Yeah.
Carpet, padding, drywall, maybe even parts of the subfloor, it all has to go immediately because of the health risks. So that professional assessment, they use specialized moisture meters, map it all out, consider the water category, and then recommend either targeted removal or often full removal, It's about seeing beyond just the surface wetness.
So it's really about preventing those hidden threats, mold, rot, serious health risks. Makes total sense, especially after what you said about humidity and the different water types. So what materials typically get removed, and what does that process actually look like? You mentioned it's more than just tearing stuff out. Sounds quite specific.
It is, yeah. Very tailored to the floor type, because each material reacts differently to water and needs different handling. For hardwood, if planks are cupped or crowned, it involves carefully taking them up, removing fasteners, and then really checking the subfloor underneath. Make sure it's dry, sound. Sometimes hardwood can be saved if it's dried super fast and hasn't warped too much, but often at least some planks or whole sections need replacing.
Okay.
Laminate and engineered flooring. Because of how they're made in layers, they often swell up or delaminate pretty badly. Usually they're beyond repair and need full replacement. Pros will also check any plastic sheeting, the vapor barrier underneath.
Right.
Tile and stone. This means taking out the tiles, but also scraping off the thin set. That's the mortar or adhesive used to stick them down. You need a clean, prepped surface for new tile. Carpet and pad, obviously. The carpet and pad come out. But also, the tack strips those spiky wood things around the edge and all the staples. They pay special attention to areas where there might be odor or signs of microbial growth. And vinyl, LVP-LVT, that's a luxury vinyl plank or tile, and VCT, vinyl composition tile. Again, involves getting the flooring up, but also removing the adhesive underneath. And then really thorough moisture testing of the subfloor before anything new goes down. Got to make sure it's totally dry.
Wow, it really does sound like much more involved than just, ripping up the old floor. It's precise, depends on the material, and it's all about protecting the home long term. That level of detail is pretty impressive. So bringing it all together for someone facing this, how does a professional team actually do this removal? And what exactly is this dust control demo? That sounds like a potential game changer for homeowners worried about mess and air quality.
It really is a game changer. What stands out from the sources is how systematic, almost surgical, this approach is, especially that focus on dust control. It's a multi-step process, way more than just a standard demolition. It's designed to be fast, yes, but also incredibly clean and effective. It starts with assessment and prep. And this isn't just a quick look around. They use specialized tools for moisture mapping. That means precisely identifying all the wet areas, even the hidden ones.
Okay.
Then they protect the areas that aren't damaged. And if necessary, they set up negative air systems, basically sealing off the work zone and using fans to pull air in and filter it so contaminated air and dust don't spread through your house.
Oh, containment. So they map the problem, protect the good areas, and keep the bad stuff locked in. Got it.
Then come the flood cuts and containment. Host, you mentioned flood cuts earlier. That sounds pretty intense. Can you maybe explain those again? Why cut into a wall that looks okay?
Yeah, great question. And I think it's something that might make homeowners nervous at first. Why are you cutting my walls? But flood cuts are precision cuts, usually about 2 to 4 feet up from the floor. They do it to remove the wet drywall, yes, but crucially also the wet insulation behind it. It might seem drastic, but water wicks up inside those wall cavities like a paper towel soaking up water. Unless you open it up, that hidden moisture just sits there, breeding mold. So it's about preventing that hidden mold you'd never see until it's a massive, expensive problem later. And it lets the drying equipment actually get air moving inside the wall cavity. While they do this, they set up those sealed work zones, plastic sheeting, zippers to keep any dust or mold spores contained.
Perfect explanation. So after containment, then comes the actual flooring removal. Professionals use specialized tools, sometimes ride-on machines for big areas. Hand tools for detailed work to lift out all the damaged flooring. Tile, hardwood, laminate, carpet, vinyl, whatever it is. Right down to the clean subfloor. They're not just smashing and tearing. It's a controlled removal to leave a clean base ready for drying and repair.
Okay, and this is where the dust-controlled part really kicks in, right?
Right.
What's the big deal about dust? I mean, isn't demolition always dusty?
Well, yes, traditional demo is incredibly dusty, but this is a huge difference, and it's critical for your health and just minimizing the disruption. See, traditional rip-outs, they send fine particles of concrete dust which contains silica, known to be harmful if you breathe it in, plus wood dust, maybe mold spores, all sorts of contaminants, airborne, they get aerosolized, and that stuff spreads everywhere in your house.
Yikes.
Yeah. But a dust control demo is different. They use powerful HEPA vacuums. That stands for high-efficiency particulate air. They filter out almost everything, like 99.97% of tiny particles right at the point where the dust is being created. They also use air scrubbers, machines that filter the air in the work zone constantly. This drastically reduces how much dust gets into the air and spreads. It's absolutely vital for protecting your indoor air quality, preventing respiratory issues, and honestly, it massively cuts down on the cleanup needed afterwards. It's just cleaner, healthier, and faster overall.
That's incredibly thorough. It sounds like they're really thinking about the air you're breathing, the long-term health of your home, not just getting the wet floor out. It's not just what you see, it's what you don't see floating around.
Precisely. And they also have specific mold considerations. If they find minor mold, they handle it using strict industry protocols. If it's heavier growth, that needs specialized treatment, so they coordinate with certified mold remediation specialists to make sure it's dealt with properly and safely. Protects your family, protects the house.
Oh, yeah.
And then finally, it's dry out and clean up. They haul away all the debris, start targeted drying using big industrial dehumidifiers and high-speed air movers to get the area properly dry, down to specific moisture level targets. Then a final cleanup leaves the area clean, dry, and genuinely ready for the rebuild phase.
That whole systematic approach, especially the dust control, paints a really clear picture. But I bet for someone actually in that situation, a couple of immediate questions pop up. Like, okay, if this happens to me, what is the absolute first thing I should do?
Right. The immediate advice from the sources is pretty straightforward. 1, stop the source of the water if you can do it safely. Turn off the main valve, fix the leaking pipe if it's obvious. 2, get rid of any standing water you can manage yourself. Mop, wet vac, whatever. 3, get air moving. Open windows if it's not raining in. Use fans you have. And 4, immediately call a professional water damage restoration team. Don't wait. They handle the crucial next steps, the moisture mapping, the flood cuts if needed, the controlled demo. That's what stops the mold and ensures proper drying.
Okay, stop the source, remove water, get air moving, call pros. Got it.
And just to circle back one more time on that dust-controlled removal, why is it so important for a homeowner to maybe insist on that? What's the real takeaway there? It really comes down to health and efficiency. Traditional methods just blast potentially harmful silica dust and contaminants everywhere. Dust-controlled methods protect your air. They capture the bad stuff right at the source using HEPA filtration and containment. It's not just about less cleaning later, although that's nice. It's about preventing the spread of particles and mold spores that can make you sick or trigger allergies. Bottom line, it's cleaner, it's healthier, and it's significantly faster overall. It lets you get to the restoration phase sooner and with more confidence that the job was done right.
So whether it's that sudden pipe burst, a storm sneaking in, or maybe a slow, sneaky leak that's been quietly causing trouble, understanding the urgency, knowing what that professional dust-controlled deep dive looks like, it really seems invaluable. It helps you, the homeowner, shift from that feeling of panic to having a clear plan, knowing what to expect from the experts you call in.
It truly does. It equips you with the knowledge you need to make good decisions, protect your property from getting worse, and ensures the whole restoration process is faster, cleaner, and ultimately healthier than you might get otherwise. It really is about that long-term peace of mind.
This deep dive has definitely shown us that water damage is serious stuff, no doubt. But it's not unbeatable if you tackle it fast and you tackle it the right way. The process involves these precise, almost scientific steps from the initial assessment and mapping through that careful dust-controlled removal right up to the thorough drying. It's all aimed at getting your home not just looking okay, but truly being okay, right down to its bones.
Which I think raises a really important final thought for you to consider. Given how quickly moisture can spread and the unseen risks it creates, what hidden vulnerabilities might your home be silently holding on to right now? And what does truly dry actually mean when we're talking about preventing those long-term structural problems and air quality issues? It's definitely more than just being dry to the touch. It's about that deep structural health.
Great point to end on. Thanks for diving deep with us today. We really hope you feel much more informed and maybe a bit more confident about handling any water damage issues that might unfortunately come your way.
That wraps up today's episode on Sarasota water damage floor removal. Remember, hidden moisture under flooring can cause mold and structural problems if it's not addressed fast. At Remove Right, we use precise flood cuts, HEPA filtration, and a dust-controlled approach to get your home ready for new flooring. Clean, safe, and installer ready. I'm Greg. Thanks for listening. For more information or to schedule a removal, visit removeright.com or call us at 941-677-0447. We'll see you next time.